today is our highest values. How do we discern our highest values and then live valued-centered lives? Howard Thurman gives us some insight on this in his book, The Inward Journey, pages 13 and 14. In the experience of humankind, the attitude or act that triggers this release of fresh vigor and vitality is singleness of mind. This means surrendering the life at the very core of one's being to a single end, goal, or purpose. When a person is able to bring to bear upon a single purpose all the powers of their being, their whole life is energized and vitalized. Commitment means that it is possible for us to yield to the nerve center of our consent to a purpose or cause, a movement or an ideal, which may be more important to us than whether we live or we die. Let us speak our affirmation together with commitment. I walk the path of integrity. I listen deeply within, aligning with the perfection and wholeness of God, letting the light of God illuminate my path and make straight the way before me. I see a great vision of my life coming into view.
Thank you so much. Beautifully read, Kristen. So, my friends, we live in a time that we are being called to the very core of our being to move into action. I don't know if you've noticed that. But not only individually, but collectively. There is definitely that urge to evolve that I can see present and I can feel in myself. So this year, 2019, has been dedicated to spirituality in action, not just thinking about it or talking about it or contemplating it, but being it in action in our lives. And this particular month, we are anchoring our spiritual action in the topic of integrity. Integrity. And where I want to start with is I want to go back to kind of the very beginning of our teachings and what it is that we are all about here. And so it all begins with realizing that all there is God. All there is God. There's not God in something else. There is God, or that infinite universal presence or source of all that is. And because God is all there is, it's time for us to evolve our perceptions of who we are and who other people are. I mean, look around you. The people that you are looking at around you are the presence of God individualized. The presence of God individualized. It's really important to let that sink in, because the more that we begin to embrace our God selves, our true selves, our true nature, the more we're able to live from our limitless nature. Our limitless nature. I'm thinking of how this is really getting out there in the media. Recently on public television, Deepak Chopra did a whole series on You Are the Universe. He didn't say the universe is out there. He said you are the universe, and he talked about how we are truly the universe itself, perceiving itself. When we get into the depths of who we truly are, it's mind-blowing. Indian avatar Sai Baba once was asked by one of his followers, "How are you able to do all the miraculous things that you do?" And to this he responded, "The difference between you and me is that you are pretending to be God, while I know that I am God and act accordingly." Those are powerful statements. And you say, well, Okay, well, what about Jesus? Well, I have some things on Jesus. In the Gospel John, chapter 10, verses 31 through 34, it says, confronts his would-be assailants, saying, I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which these do you stone me? And they replied, we are not stoning you for any good work, but for blasphemy, because a mere man you claim to be God. And Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law? He's referring to Psalms 82:6. And this is what it says in Psalms 82:6. Ye are gods, children of the Most High. Ye are gods. It's there. It's just interesting how we haven't really been able to grapple with what that means until, more recently. And actually, people back in ancient times realized that too when they were in the mystical aspects of this teaching. They realized that if all there is God, then we are that life individualized. That's our truth. And then Troward goes on to say in Edinburgh Lectures on Mental Science, because God is infinite or limitless, God is everywhere, and therefore it follows that the whole of spirit must be present at every point in space at the same moment. That means you and I are all of spirit. We're talking about in the quantum realm, right? We're not talking about the physical realm. In the quantum realm, our essence, our truth of who we are, our God selves are limitless. They are the allness of God. Yes, individualized in this incarnation. But it's mind blowing, isn't it? To really grapple with what this means. So, what does it mean? It's what it's what people like Jesus and Buddha, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Babaji, all of these great miracle workers discovered is that the healing powers are within each and every one of us, not just a selected few. It's within all of us. It's about waking up, evolving our perceptions of who we are. That's where we must start. So, back to integrity. Integrity comes from a Latin word, integer. Anybody hear of the word integer? You know what integer means? It means whole and complete. Okay? Integrity means whole and complete. So, integrity requires us to have that inner sense of wholeness, our true selves, our God selves, and then a consistency of character that comes from that awareness. So that means that the same you shows up no matter what the circumstance, whether it's in traffic or wherever it is, right? The same you shows up. So even when we're faced with challenges in our lives, we know when we are in alignment with who we are when we show up in integrity and in the awareness of the all possibility that resides in each and every situation. We live as those triumphant, joyous, and convinced beings with conviction that all is well, even in the midst of a challenging thing, because there's always an opportunity to create something new, to allow something new to be revealed. And when we walk in integrity, others notice. They notice that our actions, our words, and our thoughts are in alignment, that our outcomes and our methods are in alignment with our true selves. So, if you want to know what your real values are, here's how you check it out. Keep a log on how you spend your time, and that means how often, where you spend your time thinking. Where are your thoughts? Are they thoughts of worry? Are they thoughts focused on vision? Where you spend your actions. That means, are you spending a lot of hours watching TV, or are you involved in things that really speak to who you are? Words. What kind of words come out of your mouth? Are you talking about, ain't it awful? Or, or are you talking about, wow, the possibilities that are here, There are all these possibilities. So we can find out what our real values are just by doing that, keeping a log of how we spend our time in our thoughts, our words, and our actions. And then here's the cool thing. Once we discover that, it's okay. We discover these areas maybe where we'd like to shift. We have the power to realign or to align with the highest possible values that we can. We have the freedom of choice and the power of choice. That's the beauty of it. And values, once we choose our values consciously, rather than go by the conditioned values that we've had from the past, the conditioned mind from what happened in our lives, what we can do then is choose those highest values and realize they are first cause. They become the first cause that inform our decisions, our intentions, our actions, our perceptions, everything about us. First cause. Values are first cause. That's why they are so important. Values are principles, ideals, standards, or qualities that shape the way we live. That's why they determine how we show up. And they're not dependent on external circumstances, whatever they might be, the economy, illness, what's happened in a relationship recently, what's happened in our work. They're not dependent on externals. We remain true to our values, even in the midst of circumstances that may be challenging. So then, how do we discover our highest, most desirable values? During the discovery class, participants engage in an exercise called Who I Came Here to Be, right? True? Who I came here to be. They identify 5 or more people that they admire and list the qualities of these people that they that they admire and the particular qualities that they embody. And from this list, they look at the ones that are repeating and discern which are the qualities who they've come here to be. We could call them values. That these are values. These are things that they see in others or we see in others that we admire. And the truth is we can't see them unless they're truly already in us. That's the coolest thing about it. But it means that we can be consciously aware of those values as things that can lead us forward, that can pull us forward. That's the vision that pulls us forward. So our highest values, then, you will probably notice, align with our divine selves, with who we are in truth. And when we embrace our nature, and that's why I went through so much preparation in reminding us who we are, when we embrace our God selves, our true selves, and the God nature of everyone else and everything else, then we are in connection with our highest values. A pig and a hen, heard about the food pantry here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Delaware. And the hen said, I'd like to participate in that. And the pig agreed. And the hen said, well, you know what? I know what we can offer. We can offer bacon and eggs. And the pig thought about that for a moment and said, I don't know about that. He said, for you, it's only a contribution, but for me, it's total commitment. So isn't that what commitment is we give ourselves to it. We give our whole selves to it. Oh, total commitment. Well, sometimes, yeah, yeah. I think that's what Howard Thurman was trying to tell us. Sometimes we're willing to lay our lives on the line for what our values are. So, our highest values, then, once they're identified, then it's important to commit to them. And that means to keep our eyes on our values. If it means posting your values somewhere where you can refer to them, then that works, whatever works for you. And then consciously choosing to live from your values moment by moment and day by day. And here's the thing, if you get out of alignment with your values, in this teaching, we are not into guilt, okay? I want to make that very clear. We're not into guilt. If we get off the track, out of alignment with our values, breathe, notice it, take a breath, forgive ourselves, practice a little self compassion, and then get back into alignment. Doesn't that feel so much better than the other way, of beating ourselves up and, oh, you terrible person? Yeah, we don't want to do that. We want to get back into alignment. And that means then that we walk the path of integrity again and again and again. We keep putting ourselves back on the path. In Proverbs chapter 10, verse 9, it says, whoever walks in integrity walks securely. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely. There's a great sense of assuredness and security that comes with our willingness to walk in integrity with our values. Gary Zukav in Seat of the Soul said there are actually two originating intentions or values that we live by. We can categorize them as either love or fear. And when fear drives us, we tend to be into getting love, getting this, getting that, whatever it is, into getting. So that's one of the telltale ways to know if love is driving you. And if the desire to share our love is driving us, then it's a love-based value. And I just put a list here of some love-based values. And I know there are many more, but service, gratitude, appreciation, peace, joy, kindness, faith, trust, courage. You could go on, but all of those are love-based. They come from awareness that we are, remember, we're the fullness of the divine. We're the fullness of love. We're already love in expression. So as we share that love, the cool thing that happens is we experience more and more love because there's the law of circulation. As we give, so we receive. And as we give love, we experience ourselves as love, and we experience more love in every aspect of our lives. One of the sayings that we have around here is there's either love or a call for love. And so it's easier to remember that we are love when we remind ourselves that, or when somebody is calling for love. That means they're acting in a way that is demanding love from us, or is wanting to get even, or whatever it is. We remind ourselves, oh, there's either love or a call for love. So this person is calling for love. They don't realize in this moment that they are love. Ernest Holmes says, love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. Beautiful. And Howard Thurman says, love bypasses all your hate, all your difference, and gets through to you at your center. You are powerless to do anything about it. Anybody notice that if you're in a grumpy mood and somebody is being really loving toward you, you just eventually you kind of melt? So to me, also Ernest Holmes says that love is the self-givingness of the spirit, the self-givingness of the spirit. So when we emulate God, we are giving of ourselves. And to paraphrase Thurman, he said, commitment means we are giving ourselves to a purpose, a cause, a movement, an ideal, which may be more important to us than living or dying. Wow, that's the power of love. And think of Aretha Franklin. To me, Aretha Franklin is a demonstration of what it means to be committed to your highest values. I don't know if any of you saw um, her memorial service, but not only is she the legendary Queen of Soul and the first woman to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she was also an integral part of the civil rights movement. She gave herself and her resources, her money and her talent and everything, to the ideal of civil rights and racial equality. This included touring with Dr. Martin Luther King and fellow social activist Harry Belafonte. Aretha truly lived in alignment, in integrity with her highest values. So, we are not stuck with values that do not serve us. We can choose. We have the power of choice. We're created with the capacity to choose and to choose values that are in alignment with our divine nature. And as we commit to these high values, we are setting a new law in motion, a new us in motion. And it will trigger, I love this is Howard Thurman, it will trigger the release of fresh vigor and vitality. Anybody want that? Align with our values and fresh vigor and vitality. Woo! Yes. And so then when we are faced with challenges, we can say with Dr. Thurman, and this is one of my favorite quotes of all time of his, keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. Repeat that after me. Keep fresh before me the moments of my high resolve. Okay, now everybody stand. We're going to do an affirmation. And you know, we've learned that body language is very powerful in allowing these affirmations to take root in our subconscious mind. So you can either do the superhero technique, which is like this, or you can do the victor's technique, which is the arms up in the air, and say it with a sense of victory. Are you ready? My high resolve is to be in integrity with my highest values. My highest resolve is to be in alignment with my God self. I accept this. I know this. I receive this. I am this. And so it is. Woo!